Shadow flipped the tent flap open and surveyed the scene. On the floor, in the center of the tent, a man lay dead from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. In the corner of the tent was a small cot. A package of cigarettes and an empty whiskey bottle lay on a bedside table next to a kerosene lamp. Shadow combed the tent for additional clues to the possible motive. Other than the articles mentioned, the only things Shadow found were a half-dozen small circular wooden discs under the cot, the man's personal effects, and a variety of scrapbooks and news clippings. Shadow found the last articles particularly strange since it was learned the suicide victim was completely illiterate. What was the reason for the apparent suicide? Alright, I give up. What is the answer to this? The man was a partial cripple who worked for the circus. He was known as the world's shortest living adult. Someone was cutting short pieces from the end of his walking cane. Consequently, he thought he was starting to grow and would eventually lose not only his notoriety, but also his job. The man was a partial cripple who worked for the circus, known as the shortest living adult? Okay, seriously? What the How can that be a question? Is someone honestly supposed to be able to figure that out? Okay guys, today I will be reviewing MindTrap. Now MindTrap is a trivia party game originally published by Pressman Toy Company in 1991, and it plays in teams, so you could have as few as 2 people, but you could probably have just as many people as you want as long as you can divide the teams up fairly. The game clearly is a bit of a brain teaser kind of trivia game where some of the questions are just completely ridiculous and impossible to figure out. And other ones are kind of more like math problems where you could definitely figure it out, so they're more fair questions. So let's take a look what's in here. So in the box for MindTrap, you simply have this pad of paper, which you could use, I guess, to write the names of people on each team. And you'll start in the middle marking the beginning, and as you get questions correct, you work your way out of this this weird shape. And if you want a longer game, then you can take a bit of a longer route. And so that kind of defines when the game ends and how you're progressing. Personally, I don't really use it, but if you want to play a serious game, then you can. There's also a die and pencil to accompany that. But the real meat of the game is obviously the brain teaser cards. So they just have a question and answer. The card that I read was a bit on the long side. Most of them are pretty short. So you can, you kind of get through them pretty quickly. That's really all there is to the components of the game. So for the most part, I would not recommend MindTrap. This is a pretty much terrible game, but sometimes it is a bit fun to poke fun at the questions, just at how completely ridiculous they are. I did come up in the beginning of the video with one of the more extreme examples, but there are more gems in here. There's a few other ones that are just as ridiculous, and many of them are almost as bad as that one. So it can be fun at a party, just pulling this out and laughing at not being able to get the answers. And if you were to remove those cards, you could play with the ones that you can actually get, the more math-based ones, or some of the other brain teasers that aren't impossible. And there are expansions to MindTrap, and some of them are more specific in the types of questions that there are. So I'm sure some of those would work better. I think there's a geometric riddles expansion that I found at a garage sale. So I look forward to trying playing with only those cards and seeing if that actually makes the game work. I do have to confess I don't actually know the rules to MindTrap because I got this at Value Village and it didn't have the rules in it. So I kind of just tried to figure out based on the components in here. But I've heard since I've played it that in some of the questions you can ask questions back and forth, so that might make some of the impossible questions a little bit more likely to answer, though I still do not know how you're going to get a cripple at the circus from a couple of wooden discs and some news articles. But apparently, Pressman Toy Corporation thinks that is possible to figure out. So what do you think? Did I get it all wrong? Is MindTrap a absolutely great game and I just don't understand it? If you think so, I'd love to hear what you think. So post a video response about why you think MindTrap is actually not as bad of a game as I've been advertising in this video. I'd love to see what some of you guys think. And as always, leave a comment saying what game you'd like me to review next, and I'll try to consider that for next time. Thanks for watching my review of MindTrap, and I'll see you next time.